WTHA is proud to present Veterans Voices, honoring those who served. Today's show is sponsored by Highmark Hole Care. Now, here are your hosts, Maggie Smolka and Howard Bernstein.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Maggie Smolka.
And I'm Howard Bernstein. Veterans, we want to say thank you for your service.
It isn't said enough, but it is highlighted each year as our nation celebrates Veterans Day.
The first celebration using the designation was back in 1947. Its importance extends well beyond the parades and fanfare, though.
It's a chance to reflect and teach the younger generation. An opportunity more than 50 Altoona High School students recently got when a living piece of history spoke at the school.
Yeah, he's an American hero and the longest held enlisted POW in American history. WTHA's Courtney Murphy shares his message.
William Robinson is a retired Air Force captain who also holds the title of longest held enlisted POW in American history. He called his stop in Altoona encouraging.
When I speak at the school, I realize that our younger generation care much more about this country than is led on by the leadership that has a narrative that we're all followers and we don't have any leaders.
In 1965, Robinson's helicopter was shot down and captured in Vietnam, and he spent 7.5 years in multiple prison camps. He uses his story of being captive and tells students valuable advice.
My story is a simple story of never give up. You as a simple term, you get fed a lemon, you make lemonade, and you find positive in everything. If you can, unfortunately, we have too many people that all they dwell on is the negative. But the fact that you're breathing today means you got a better chance than the one that's not breathing.
And students were moved.
It was actually quite emotional. It really made me feel some things I've never really felt before, I'll be honest. It was very interesting to me because I love history and that kind of stuff. So hearing a first-hand perspective of prisoner of war, it was very interesting for me.
Very emotional, and for them to realize that the small things they worry about are really not worth worrying about. And this guy here did without so much for so many years, and he's still a very humble guy and very happy.
Robinson closed his speech stressing the value of voting and how opportunity is always there.
I knew the communication was over with when they brought out the leg irons and handcuffs, and we had to take things in a different direction. But up to that point, everything is on the table, and that's why we are, as our young people, that everything is on the table. It's just up to them.
And Central Pennsylvania is home to many veterans, but did you know that the small community of Everett has 2 Medal of Honor recipients?
It's Sergeant Ellis Weech, who served in Vietnam, and Staff Sergeant Robert Hartsock, who served in World War II. And soon a statue will ensure they're never forgotten. This is what it'll look like once it's complete. The idea started about 5 years ago after a bridge dedication in Hartsock's honor.
A bridge isn't really enough for people who made the ultimate sacrifice and gave all for their country. We believe we're the only community in the country that has 2 Medal of Honor recipients, each from 2 different conflicts, which makes us kind of unique in our opinion. We're just can hardly wait to have the statue erected in full.
Ground was officially broken in September in front of the Masonic Temple. Sylvester says the club is very close to their $200,000 goal, which will cover the statue, landscaping, and hopefully preservation in the future. He says it wouldn't be possible without the support of the community and hopes to have the memorial complete in April.
A new display has officially been unveiled in the Richland Cemetery, paying homage to fallen veterans. This section of the Richland Cemetery is called Soldier Circle. It's where veterans and their loved ones are buried, but management felt that it was missing something. Now standing tall is the American flag surrounded by the 6 armed forces flags.
This section has long gone without any kind of a feature in the center of it. It was just grass, and our cemetery board and our management and staff, we really wanted to come together and do a project that would honor veterans, make it a reverent place so that people who bury their loved ones here can be proud that it shows the respect that these people deserve for giving the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
The cemetery also gives thanks by offering veterans a free lot, knowing this area allows them to be together just as they were when fighting for our country.
And if you look up in many communities, chances are you'll see banners displaying the pictures of local veterans. State College is one of them. New this year, these banners hung by PSU Veterans Affairs feature a veteran that not only has a connection to Centre County, but also Penn State. From honoring our veterans with banners to honoring by giving back.
Let's introduce you now to Rhonda Smith, who is on a mission to support female veterans. She started the Skirted Soldier, a tea company that she runs out of her Portage home in 2018, and it's taken off, growing from just 6 blends to now 40 and counting. While she loves making the tea, packaging it, and coming up with new recipes, there's a greater meaning behind her business, as she created it to give back to female veterans. Rhonda, a veteran herself, spent 10 years on active duty in the Air Force. She knows how hard a post-military life can be, so she's making it her mission to support and empower others.
I thought there has to be a way for other female veterans to not have to experience this like I did. There has to be a way to create a business where we can employ female veterans as they are, the language they use, the way they present themselves, or help them set up their own business so that they can operate.
10% of her sales go back to female veterans and organizations that help them become more self-sufficient and gain skills. So far this year, they've been able to donate a little more than $4,000.
A Punxsutawney woman is also giving back to those who have served with challenge coins.
Our Tristan Kleinfelter has more on the message that she's trying to send and the reaction she's gotten so far.
You can't buy anything with it, but it's worth a great deal more than most coins.
Seeing some of the veterans' expressions, you know, like some will cry, some will hug you, some will like tell their horror stories from when they served.
Cheryl Bottenhorn started giving out these challenge coins about 2 years ago.
All branches of service, the POW, missing in action, and if they were wounded and have a Purple Heart.
A simple coin with a simple message. You're not forgotten. But she says the best part of giving is what she receives in return.
Just a World War II vet hugged me, he's telling me thank you for the service, and I've also had some Vietnam ones and Korean ones that when they came home they were literally spit on when they served, so they're happy that somebody cared and thought.
And it's not just here. Cheryl wants every veteran across the nation to know what they should be thanked and respected for their service.
I've sent to Alaska, I've sent to Hawaii, sent to California, all over so far.
You can join her mission too. Donation cans are around the Punxsutawney area. The money you give will help buy additional coins to the roughly 1,500 she's already handed out. In Punxsutawney, Tristan Kleinfelter, WTAJ News.
And still ahead, we're going to introduce you to a veteran who wants to honor others with an undeniable level of courage and commitment.
In fact, he wants to give them fair warning. Their next battle could be with an enemy from within.
You're watching Veterans Voices on WTAJ, your news leader.
Welcome back, everyone. Adapt and overcome. It's part of the Marine Corps slogan, and a Marine veteran in Chesapeake has taken those words to heart.
Retired Major Chris Mulholland has a debilitating disease that he refuses to let stand in his way. Chris Horn shows us this man's remarkable spirit for helping others.
He can't speak, but he can get the word out.
My brain and soul are still intact in this husk of my body.
He can't walk, but he can lead the charge. This Marine has retired, but not retreated. He used to run marathons, and at age 60 was still bench pressing 300 pounds. And then, 2 years ago, at age 62,
I was still lifting weights and noticed I was having more difficulty than I should have. My wife thought I was day drinking because I was slurring my words.
The diagnosis, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. Over the years, modern medicine has taken many swings at a cure, but has yet to connect.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
We know it better as Lou Gehrig's disease, but now it's also Chris Mulholland's disease.
I immediately began reading about ALS and was stunned to read that veterans are twice as likely to contract it than civilians.
He had 20 years with the Corps, including tours in Lebanon right after the barracks bombing, as well as Iraq. But now Mulholland began to gear up for a new mission, writing articles in Military Times, citing research on the prevalence of ALS among post-9/11 deployed veterans, more than 3 times the rate in the civilian population. Mulholland became active in the VFW, the ALS Association, and the Paralyzed Veterans Association.
I was extremely pleased that I was able to have the VFW acknowledge and support veterans battling ALS at our recent national convention.
And Mulholland says the effort to educate veterans about ALS gained more ground late last year. That's when President Biden signed the Accelerating Access to Critical Therapies for ALS Act.
That was another initiative I was strongly involved in.
Mulholland says the testing and approval process for new therapies takes too long for today's patients. In the meantime, he refuses to let the ravages of ALS define him. Once a Marine, always a Marine.
The person I was, I still am, so I will continue this fight till my dying breath.
Now, according to the VA, only 8% of our area's members are women. In Altoona, the Van Zandt VA Medical Center is taking steps to increase that number by highlighting special programs for its female patients. Now, the VA has a dedicated team for female members, which extends beyond the facility. Chief of Staff Angela Rowe says that the care is endless and personal.
You're going to see the same provider, and there's a connection and a warmth that we provide.
Rose says that their Nurse Navigator system will check in with interested patients to ensure that they're up to date with screenings, pregnancy checkups, and much more.
Reaching help is becoming easier nationwide. A new Veterans Crisis Line was launched as part of the new 988 National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, veterans in need can simply press 1 to talk to qualified responders and receive crisis support.
The VA says that the line links more than 500 suicide prevention coordinators across the VA healthcare system, ensuring follow-up services. Well, thousands of veterans are given the opportunity to take an honor flight each year. We are going to show you how these flights are giving veterans a chance to see memorials that they may not be able to otherwise when we come back.
You're watching Veterans Voices on WTAJ, your news leader.
Every year, thousands of veterans are given the opportunity to take an honor flight to the nation's capital.
And the trips are part of a program to thank veterans and give them the opportunity to see the memorials dedicated to the wars that they fought in.
And Ken Wade accompanied 28 veterans on an honor flight from San Francisco, some who never had the opportunity to be recognized for their service.
The flight arrived at Reagan National Airport, and the veterans got quite the surprise when they stepped off the plane. The rest of the weekend was a whirlwind of visits to memorials and museums. The Army Museum featured a riveting segment on Vietnam, the war most of these vets were involved in. At the World War II Memorial, a native of San Francisco's Chinatown explained why he enlisted at the age of 18.
Somebody got to bring the soldiers back home, and who's going to replace them? So I said, well, it's my duty, right, to go in and have them veterans come back home to see their family. So do my part in releasing them. You know?
During a lunch stop at the Navy Memorial, the vets were given yet another surprise, a performance by the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, known as the Marching 24. The names of fallen comrades were copied from the Vietnam Wall and tokens left behind in their memory. 4 Bay Area veterans had the honor of presenting a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington Cemetery. The last night featured one of every soldier's favorite military memories, mail call. Only in this case, the letters were from loved ones today, thanking their veteran for their service.
What a gift. What a gift. What a gift. Thank you, Mike.
Another surprise after the veterans arrived behind schedule at SFO. The plane was delayed by 2 hours, yet a large crowd remained to give many of these vets the welcome home they never got when they returned from Vietnam.
Always such a special trip. If you'd like to learn more information on how to support or participate in an honor flight, visit honorflight.org. A new memorial on the National Mall will honor those who served in Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield.
Officials broke ground on it in July, calling it a momentous occasion.
This memorial will become a breathtaking and powerful representation of Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Guess what? For as long as there's a Washington, D.C.
The memorial will commemorate the military personnel who, in 1990, liberated Kuwait from Iraq and defended Saudi Arabia from further invasion. It'll be located just north of the Lincoln Memorial and is scheduled to open to the public by Veterans Day in 2024. And stay with us. We're back after this.
You're watching Veterans Voices on WTAJ, your news leader.
On this Veterans Day, many are taking time to thank those who sacrificed so much.
That includes an area library that's making sure veterans and active military members are remembered. Our Tristan Kleinfelter shows us how you can get involved.
A simple brown bag that carries more than you think. Inside the Barbara Moscato Brown Library, you can find one of these brown bags that has blank cards ready to deliver a card for a troop.
It's really all about just giving them a little boost of something extra, a little bit of joy and happiness and whimsy. A lot of them just have stressful days, whether they're actually out in deployment or whether they're just in basic training. These guys do a lot for us.
All that's missing from the bag is your creativity.
It includes 2 cards, 2 envelopes. Both the cards and the envelopes are blank, so they can both be decorated as you'd like to.
This is an easy way to show your appreciation. And this is how you do it.
They come and pick up the craft kits, and then they can create their cards, and then they just return the cards back here to the library, and we make sure that they get to the packing project and get into the boxes.
Now, you can pick up the card for a troop until November 30th. Cards must be back to the library by December 6th to be delivered to the soldiers. In Du Bois, Tristan Kleinfelter, WTAJ News.
Sometimes showing your support can be as simple as an act of kindness. The funny thing about those little acts of kindness is that their impacts, they can be big.
I was shocked, thrilled, happy, like I was flabbergasted.
LaRon Britt is a postal delivery man, but on this day, the driver's seat was empty, and not because he was sifting through letters and packages, but because he was shoveling Terry Halliday's steps and deck. He knew that Terry, a disabled veteran, just couldn't do it as easily on her own. That's why the kindness meant all that much more to her. But if you ask LaRon, it's all part of the job. Stay with us. We're back after this.
You're watching Veterans Voices on WTAJ, your news leader.
Welcome back. Before we go, we wanted to share this truly inspiring story from Michigan.
Imagine turning 100 years old and your only wish is to serve your country again. It's not only a wish, but now a reality for retired Colonel Robert Muni.
That just tells you what kind of patriot he is. I mean, that wish alone tells you all you really need to know about a patriot.
Muni served in the U.S. Army during World War II over on the European theater and then re-enlisted in the Air Force in 1953. He went on to work in the Department of Defense for 49 years.
At his recent birthday celebration, he was back in uniform and became an honorary member in good standing of the Michigan National Guard. Not only is he re-enlisted into another branch, but he was also given a promotion higher than his previous rank. Well, congratulations. If you missed any of our show, you can find these stories and other exclusive content over on our website, WTAJ.com.
We hope that you have a great night.
WTAJ is proud to have presented Veterans Voices, honoring those who serve. Today's show is sponsored by Highmark Home Care.